One of my favorite shows of all time when I was a kid was Sesame Street. And I must have watched well over 1,000 episodes over the course of my childhood. And there were many memorable characters and songs I remember. I can recall them so very vividly to my mind. There was Snuffleupagus, who was some kind of elephant, I think, but you really couldn't tell because no one really ever got to see him. And then there was a sort of a ill-tempered fellow who lived in a garbage can, and everybody kind of thought he was a grouch. And of course, there was a giant yellow bird that, seemed to be a very normal thing for everybody. Nobody really questioned his size. But of all the things that stand out, some of the things that I can remember so very well, all the wonderful songs that were part of that show. They had songs like Rubber Ducky and Can You Tell Me How to Get to Sesame Street? I mean, just all sorts of really wonderful songs. But one of the songs that really has stayed with me throughout the years, and I find myself sometimes, humming and singing, it goes something like this. These are the people in your neighborhood, in your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Oh, these are the people in your neighborhood. They're the people that you meet when you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day. I loved that song, and I oftentimes would find myself, all depending on what I was doing, changing the lyrics, all depending on what was happening. But I do that to every song. The song itself is designed to teach kids about all the different members of the community that make up, important parts of their town or city. Of course, you have the police officers that you would meet during that song, and the firefighters, the teachers, and of course, the greengrocer. All of the people that made up just the wonderful part of that neighborhood. And each and every one of them brought an amazingly important gift to the community. And I thought to myself, as I was reflecting on our scriptures this week, how very true it is that this song seemed to just jump right back into my mind as I was listening to the readings and praying and reflecting over them. You see, each and every one of us has been given a gift from God. And through his wonderful blessings, that gift gives meaning to our lives. It helps us to find our purpose in the world. And of course, that's exactly what God wants for us, isn't it? God wants us to use those gifts that he has given to us to enrich and empower and to make wonderful this world. Now, I think that St. Paul really sort of understands this in his first letter to the Corinthians. This is what he has to say. He says, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different forms of service, but the same Lord. There are different workings, but the same God, who produces all of them in everyone. To each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for some benefit. It's amazing to think that you and I have been blessed with this special gift from God. And if we don't use it, if we don't use the gifts that God has given to us, then there's something missing from the world. There's an emptiness there that can only be filled by your presence. For some of us, it might be the gift of accounting. And for others, it might be the gift of safety. Firefighters, police officers, those who work and serve their country in the armed forces. For some of us, it's the gift of spirit, the spirit of justice. And of course, as we celebrate this weekend, the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we remember his call to justice and equality, and how he called on us as an American people to lift up all Americans so that they might taste freedom and justice, and then to spread that throughout the world. Other people are blessed with the gift of song. They bring joy to our hearts. Or they are, committed to preserving nature and protecting it. to seeking justice in the world, or to guide our children in the path of knowledge. All of these are wonderful, wonderful gifts, and they're special. They're given to individuals, and God invites those people, invites us, you and me, right, to share those in the world. Now, of course, one of the things that is amazing about the gifts that God gives to us is that when we return them to God, when we give back the gifts that God has entrusted to us, those gifts become even more powerful, and they increase 10, 30, 100 times fold, because we can never outgive God, can we? God always takes what we give to him and just makes it all the more powerful, all the more blessing because of it. Now, Jesus, I think, testifies to this in his first miracle. In John's gospel, we hear that there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. And then he says this, he says, when the wine ran short. Now, this is a crisis, because weddings are these moments of great joy. They're sort of those really important turning points in the lives of a couple. So in my mind, as I was thinking about this story, I see everybody immediately in motion. You know, the party planner, the wedding coordinator. Here, I think they refer to them as the head waiter, right? There he is, and moving. What do you mean the wine has run short? And of course, the servers are out and about checking to make sure that everyone is comfortable, everybody's having a good time. And I think to myself, I imagine that the mother and father of the bride and groom, they too were concerned. And of course, the friends and family, everybody trying to figure out, how are we going to address this crisis? And then, of course, enters Mary, who has the presence of mind and the calmness of spirit to go to her son, to go to Jesus, full well knowing that in his hands, this crisis can be averted. And so Mary goes to Jesus and she says to him, they have no wine. Such an amazing amount of trust. She knew to go to him. And she knew in some very beautiful way that all of the work of the head waiter and of the servants and of everybody who had tried so very hard to make this such a special, special evening, a special day, a special celebration, that Jesus would not allow it to be destroyed in some way. And so, in the hands of the Lord, this crisis is overcome. And in John's gospel, Jesus doesn't just make any kind of wine or just enough wine to make it through the rest of the celebration. Our scriptures tell us that Jesus made the best of wine. And the head waiter even comments on it, that the fruit that he used to make that wine was the best. And of course, that reflects him, doesn't it? And that it was given in such great abundance that there was over 160 gallons of wine. Because, of course, when we offer our gifts to God, God returns them to us 10, 30, and 100 times fold. You know, the work that we do in this world, our daily labors, they may not always seem to be very important. We don't always get to see the fruits of our labors or the impact that it has on others. But God has given to each and every one of us a gift. No matter how old or how young we might be, those gifts are still with us. And those gifts God invites us to use in our lives as a blessing to others. You know, it is true that when we bring our gifts, our struggles, our difficulties to God, his presence is there to heal, and his presence also makes those gifts that he gives to us all the more powerful. And all that he asks of us in return is that we take that blessing that he gives to us in great abundance and to share it with those who are in need.
Don't forget to follow St. Patrick's on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube. And please join us for any of our live stream masses this weekend. Details are below in the description. God bless you.
Like burning incense, O Lord, let my prayer rise up to you. Like burning incense, O Lord, let my prayer rise up to